Hi, this is our Innovative Solutions presentation, and we're going to be addressing bipolar disorder and the public stigma surrounding bipolar disorder. There are many harmful stigmas surrounding bipolar disorder. A lot of people say that people with bipolar disorder are violent, lazy, unstable, and crazy. We have some data here from the National Alliance on Mental Illness. They did a survey that polled 1,008 Americans, and 44% of those people believed that individuals with bipolar disorder are violent, and 25% of people believe that anyone with a mood disorder in general were, quote, very different than the average citizen. Um, this disorder is misunderstood by a lot of people, and they often describe it as other disorders like schizophrenia or depression. Stigmas can come from a lot of things like media, miseducation, and rumors. And a lot of the stigmas and discrimination that we see about bipolar disorder even comes from healthcare professionals. Um, in new or expecting mothers diagnosed with bipolar disorder, it's common to see an increase in symptoms. And because of these stigmas, we're also seeing a correlation with things such as increased social anxiety, greater social impairment, unemployment, or greater work impairment, and higher degrees of depression. Stigmas also can cause people to become more afraid to seek professional help due to that fear of judgment or the fear that they're just overreacting. While we were planning our project, our empathetic approach consisted of a few things. One, each of our group members completed the mental health first aid certification at the beginning of the project. Everyone in the class did, but that better allowed us to empathize with those suffering from mental health conditions in a non judgmental and free way. And some of our group members even have family members living with bipolar disorder. So they've had extensive conversations with those and have talked about the stigmas and how they have affected them. And others in our group focused on bipolar disorder when completing their media case study assignment, and they immersed themselves in information regarding bipolar disorder through their films. The problem that we're discussing is the stigma behind bipolar disorder. Many people don't understand what bipolar disorder actually is, which again supports the stigma behind this disorder. Our innovative solution helps dissolve a portion of the stigma that revolves around bipolar disorder and brings light to the issue of stigmatizing bipolar disorder. When we were brainstorming ideas for this assignment, we originally thought of four main options. And our options were a 5K walk, a raffle, an open mic night, or visiting schools or universities to host assemblies that brought attention to bipolar disorder and taught these students about bipolar disorder, and also to see if schools would be willing to create a mandatory course surrounding mental health in general. We ultimately decided on doing a 5K walk and raffle because we thought it would be fun to have an event where everyone and anyone in the community could come together to walk and fundraise for bipolar disorder. It's also a fun and exciting way to raise awareness while eliminating the stigmas around bipolar disorder by having conversations about it in a safe space with educated people. This next slide is a flyer that we created for the fundraiser. And in the bottom left corner, it includes a brief description of kind of what the event will entail, as well as some necessary information about, the time and location of the event. We created this flyer so that we could advertise it on social media and in the community by hanging them up around like coffee shops and local stores and just on the street. Um, Around Tampa and St. Pete. And it also has our website on it, which is where people will go to register. And it includes a raffle ticket entry. And each entry is $25 a person. Each registration for the event is $25 a person. And all of those funds will go towards the Bipolar Foundation of Tampa Bay, which it also says in the bottom corner. After that, we had to plan our steps for implementation. So, step one was to contact USF's athletic department to select and schedule a day to use the track and field stadium to host our event. So, that would be any day that they were able to, and that worked for the community. So, probably a weekend if the USF track and field stadium wasn't already being used. And then the second step would be to create a website that is easily accessible and is easy to use, that allows people to sign up for the event and gives them information on when and where the 5K is and why we're doing it, and also the raffle. And then the third step was to create a flyer, which was up top, with all the event details to be distributed in person and virtually. So, as I said before, physical copies would be in coffee shops, restaurants, USF's campus, both Tampa and St. Pete and Sarasota. And it would also be just placed in high traffic areas in town. And virtual copies would also be shared on social media platforms like Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Step four would be to identify a local mental health facility, preferably one that focuses on bipolar disorder in the Tampa area, to partner with for the event and fundraising, just to see what their specific needs were and identify how they'd want to receive the funds. And then step five would be to visit local businesses to fundraise and also to ask if they'd like to donate items that would be used for the raffle prizes. Um, and then step six would be to select a local print store that would create t-shirts for the volunteers, and then the race bibs with the numbers on them for participants, and just other signage for the event, like the start and finish banners, signs that show the attendees where to park and check in, and just other general signs that you need for any event. And then the seventh step would be to find volunteers that would help check in participants and hand out waters and just kind of run the event with us. And number eight would be to hire a DJ, not only for, music during the race, but also to announce the start and end of the 5K and the raffle winners, and also to just talk about bipolar disorder. And then the ninth step would be to purchase a bunch of waters at Costco for the participants the day before the race. And then the 10th and final step would be to host the 5K and raffle and donate the funds to that selected mental health facility, which we did decide was the Bipolar Foundation of Tampa Bay. And then what makes this innovative? So we all know 5Ks aren't a new fundraising concept. Plenty of organizations have the idea of organizing a short marathon to bring a community together and raise money for a cause. We're doing the same thing, but we have a few things making us stand apart from the rest of those organizations. Our event is innovative because we're going to be specifically raising awareness, educating about, and fundraising for bipolar disorder rather than just general mental illnesses. Um, we're also planning to make this a safe space for people to speak and learn about this disorder without judgment and without hesitation. We want to give those people struggling and who know people are struggling a safe space to speak out and be heard. Another thing that makes this event innovative and different from other 5Ks is the raffle that we're going to be doing. Along with the 5K, there's going to be a raffle where we'll be giving away prizes donated from local businesses, and all of the proceeds from the raffle tickets will go to the local mental health facility that helps treat and research bipolar disorder. And basically, the overall goal of our event is to bring communities together, educate people, and bring awareness to the harmful stigmas in society and media, and raise money to help the researchers and professionals working to aid those struggling with this disorder. It's really important to remove the stigmas and because they create an insecure and scary environment for those diagnosed with bipolar disorder, and it prevents them from talking about it and from getting help. And no one with mental illnesses should have to live in fear of being judged due to those harmful stereotypes that people spread just when they're uneducated. And then this slide is just a list of each group member and their contributions. And these are our reference pages. Thank you. And then this slide is just a list of each group member and their